The independent care review heard from children, young people, families, care experienced adults, and those that support them on what must change in Scotland to ensure that they have what they need to thrive. Their voices created the promise and its clear calls to action. Plan 2430 is Scotland's plan to deliver those calls to action. It has two key and linked parts, the route maps and the promised story of progress. The 25 route maps of Plan 2430 group these calls to action into delivery-focused outcomes, setting out who must do what, by when, to make the change needed to keep the promise. The promised story of progress has three types of data to show progress towards keeping the promise. At a national level, the data shows what is changing over time. At an organisational level, learning shows how these changes are happening, and the experience lens shows whether these changes are being felt. The voices of those impacted by change stay at the centre, driving planning, delivery, monitoring and continued improvement. What does this look like in practice? This is the Rights and Restraint route map under the Scaffolding Foundation. This route map focuses on incorporating and implementing the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, while strengthening other route maps by making clear what rights children have, clarifying responsibilities and accountability. The first two outcomes focus on rights, and the third focuses on restraint. Under each outcome there is work underway and milestones for the years until 2030 and who is responsible for each. For example, in 2026, the passage of the Restraint and Seclusion in Schools Scotland Bill introduces new requirements, including a duty for Scottish ministers to issue statutory guidance on the appropriate use of seclusion and restraint in schools, and a duty on education providers to record all incidents of restraint or seclusion in their schools. Each route map also includes what matters to children, young people, families and care experienced adults to ensure we never lose sight of why it is essential that the route map's outcomes are realised. While route maps support planning and delivery, the promised story of progress measures the impact of this delivery nationally, the learning from organisations and the impact felt by those with care experience. The promised story of progress is organised around 10 vision statements, which link Scotland's understanding directly back to the promise and lived experience. Vision Statement 5, Scotland must strive to become a nation that does not restrain its children, connects directly to the delivery of the outcomes in the Rights and Restraint route map, which we looked at earlier. For example, introducing new statutory guidance following the passage of the Restraint and Seclusion in Schools Scotland Bill is a milestone in the route map and will be a positive step forward. But statutory guidance must translate to trauma-informed approaches, built on communication and understanding, put in practice by those working in schools and other settings, so the children in classrooms in a local area and across Scotland feel safer and more empowered. The promised story of progress can help us understand the whole picture and feed those insights back into delivery, shifting focus to priority areas. What's next? The route maps are a national shared planning framework for keeping the promise, built on and for collaboration. Local authorities and organisations will all have different starting points, so the route maps are not a substitute for organisational plans. Instead, by making clear destination statements, outcomes and milestones, they provide clarity on what actions are the responsibility of which organisations by when. The Promise Scotland will be supporting organisations and local authorities to engage with the route maps and Promise Story of Progress and embed them in their planning and reporting processes. The route maps will continue to develop as Scotland progresses in keeping the promise, circumstances change and work needs to focus or adapt. To learn more and get involved, visit plan2430.scot.